Hey, welcome. Episode of Smashcenter 18 is now here, featuring myself, Suar, and PG Stats. Happy to be here. Happy to see everybody. It's been a weekend. It's been a week. Before that featured a lot of talent and also a lot of Smash Ultimates. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the show, recap what happened at Get on My Level 2019, which of course happened in Toronto, Canada. And even though we don't have any guests or my fellow co-host Coney joining us, we're gonna jam-pack this episode with the updates related to GOML, and then also give a little bit of a PGRU update, since we haven't talked too much about that, and we're in the dead, middle / now end of the season, with this final third heading up into July 7th, which is the last date of the season. Again, if this is your first time seeing us on Twitch, be active in the comment box, or in the chat rather. And if it's your first time seeing us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content you're seeing, so you can keep up to date with the latest Smash Ultimate news, updates, controversy, and anything related to competitive Smash. I'm your host, Suar, and once again, welcome to the show. It's going to be an easygoing night. A little bit on the shorter side, like I said at the beginning, but if it's your first time, welcome, and if not, welcome back. But yeah, let's get right into it. We have a lot to talk about, and honestly, let's dive right into this first topic we have today, which is just, again, the entirety of GOML that we're going to try to cover. There was so much that happened and so much that I'm excited to talk about. So let's start off right off the bat with the fact that this was an A tier in Canada. We hadn't seen Canada give us a major up until this point, aside from a few tournaments like Battle of BC 3 rather, and that was more on the west side of Canada. Now we're talking about Toronto. So this tournament is again Canada's gem, one of the biggest, hypest events that we've seen for Melee, and also now for Smash 4 and Ultimate. It was an event that Ally beat Zero very famously at, and where M2K also beat Zero pretty handedly. But this year we're talking about Ultimate, and there's a lot to cover. So starting off, Even Matchups Gaming Team makes magic happen once again, and produces an incredible event. EMG, of course, bringing us the sickest highlights, the sickest content on YouTube, and they haven't disappointed us thus far. I'm really proud of Toronto Joe and everybody involved. His team leads incredible work. And also, quick shout out to Thwack for preparing the writing for tonight. He is one of the main content producers for Panda Global, so always happy to feature his work and all the stylistic tendencies that he has. So yeah, let's get right into it again. TSM Tweak back and better than ever, wins the tournament. Many heads were turned, considering the fact that, we had seen Tweak weave in and out of top 8s, but now winning an event again so big as GOML has him on the top of the charts again. He had a strong early start with everything that had to happen in the beginning with Let's Make Moves, Glitch 6, and Frostbite. Tweak pretty much juggling 1 and 2 with MK Leo, who's been pretty much leading the pack in terms of PGR. MK Leo's done incredible stuff, taking events such as Genesis, and so many of the things that we've been getting to know Ultimate through, which are like his characters like Ike, and as he's now showing us a little bit more of Joker. But Tweak finally, did the thing. He did the thing recently. He met his doubles partner Mars in Grand Finals, beating him 3-1, and Tweak went all Wario and Roy. Roy, which was a big surprise to many people. It was not something many people were expecting, considering the fact that he used them in a game, in a set situation where he was trying to score back and not get eliminated. As opposed to solo maining him or using him mainly in bracket, he was sticking to the Wario, but Roy came out and did some serious work. We've never seen Tweak's Roy at a national level, and it was quite a treat. It was reportedly on Twitter somewhat of a, someone said it was about 6 days that he had been playing him. Whether or not it was a joke, it's something that is quite amusing, considering the fact that, characters at that level require a lot of control and a lot of expertise and technical execution. So for Tweak to have reportedly been using Roy for only 6 days is something that may surprise many people, but honestly myself, it doesn't surprise too much. So getting right into the details of the tournament again, we had a couple things happen with other Panda Global boys. We had ESAM with He has one of his most notable ultimate performances to date, finishing at 3rd and beating the likes of MKLeo, Nairo, Ally, and Cosmos. Nairo, Ally, and Cosmos, along with MKLeo being really big names right now in the scene, and Cosmos being from Panda Global himself. This, of course, you know, was a team kill that was sad to see, but having a win like MKLeo will do ESAM a ton of good by the end of the season. He dodged his mini demon, Suar, who, if we all remember, at Pound 2019 in a separate side event, managed to 10-1 ESAM in a 1st to 10. He dodged Suar within the bracket, who tied for 5th place with Nairo. So we didn't get to see that blood this time. Maybe at the next event, Suar is getting from in the bracket. ESAM was eliminated by his teammate Mars, so again, we suffered another team kill, but that's kind of how it is at the top of the bracket. So congratulations to ESAM. Echo Fox, MVG's own MKLeo, falls to ESAM and gets 4th place, as previously mentioned. ESAM did beat MKLeo. He was definitely one of the favorites to win the tournament, and he was 1st seed, so seeing him go at 4th was a little bit surprising, and having Tweak at 1st was even better for the storyline, as we see the two sort of fight for 1st place this season. Leo's played all sorts of characters this season, but really stuck it out with Lucina Joker this tournament. We've seen Joker at a few international events, specifically in Japan, but we're seeing him now in the United States used at a level that people are starting to now understand as very high, very top level. MKLeo leading the pack on that, at least right now. We also had Cosmos and Shoyo James tied for 7th. Cosmos being from right now the Midwest and from Panda Global, and Shoyo James coming from Tri-State, and as a tournament organizer himself, this is an incredible feat to accomplish. He's done it before, he's performed above expectations, and he's showing us what Crom can do, but it was great play for both players. Cosmos is coming off last week's 2nd place at States Gaming Live, so he's doing pretty hot, and Shoyo James is coming off last week's Midwest Arena win. So, doing a lot in the Midwest, doing a lot in the East Coast, Shoyo James is always busy. Then we have the pool of players finishing in 9th place, and let me talk to you about that for a moment, because right now when we consider results, it's hard to keep in mind the fact that so many players are placing within the top 16, but we only really focus on the top 8 as a community, and sometimes only just whoever wins the tournament. So let's highlight a little bit of the people who placed in 9th. We had an insane amount of talent in the 9th placing pool. We had Void, DeBuzz, Myron, and Ally all finishing at 9th. Players who were previously seen as potentially taking certain events. Void doing really hot with Pichu. DeBuzz, Myron, and Ally, all in their own respect, very strong competitors and pretty much poised to place within, I'd say in my opinion, you know, the very top end of the PGR first season. So all those 4 players ended at 9th, unfortunately, but mini shout out to Plup, who was one of the Melee players who placed highest at this tournament, actually nabbing 17th. And he got double eliminated by Void, which is of course an unfortunate truth, but he outplaced players like T1's very own Anti and Larry Lur, 2 previous legends in the Smash 4 era that right now are still finding their way, but also still competing at a top caliber. Plup outplaced them both, so congratulations to him. And that'll about do it. We have the event that is GOML 2019, and for the most part, I just want to congratulate everybody who made top 8, Toronto Joe for leading the team, and also just all the competitors that made it memorable, both in the top 8, top 16, and top 32 part of the brackets. Commentary is also really nice, really hot, really lively, and I can't wait to see what GOML 2020 has in store for us. And so, with all that being said, we're going to jump into a small mini PGRU update. This is going to mirror a little bit of what a future video by us is going to sort of talk about, and that starts a little bit with the TTS. And so, switching gears for a moment, if you don't know what the TTS is, it's of course a tournament tier system, and right now it's filled with a ton of tournaments for the season, from the S tier, the tippy top, like Genesis and Frostbite, down to the C tiers, which are usually regionals that occur in and around the country and internationally in places like Japan, a bunch of countries in Europe, Canada, and Mexico. Most of those events, of course, in the C tier range are a little bit more low stakes, so of course competition is important at all levels, but the wins nabbed at those lower tiered events count less than those that you get at something like an S or A tier, which makes sense when you think about it, because beating Void in top 8 at a Genesis should count more than beating Void at a SoCal regional when you consider all the pressures and all the competition at play. So taking a look right now, we have a few S tiers that we've had this season sort of studded with. We had, of course, the Genesis 6, speaking too soon, as one of the first S tiers of the season, followed by Frostbite 2019, and then Umebura Japan Major 2019, which is the first historic event for Japan that is classified as S tier, both in Ultimate and in Smash 4. This is, of course, an amazing coordinated effort between everyone in Japan. 1,024, the exact cap for the event, is what they reached, and that netted them an S tier status. However, we do have an S tier right around the corner, and that's going to be Smash and Splash 5. This is going to feature Midwest's best and everyone in North America who is slated to go. There are 1,500 plus competitors already registered. Of course, some people might drop out. There might be the airline matchup that many top players have an issue with, but we're not focusing on top players, we're focusing on top entrants. And so right now, with the general entrance marking over 1,500, that is a S tier status stamp from us at PG Stats. So with Smash and Splash coming up, we have quite a bit to look forward to, since that's already going to happen at the beginning of June. However, there are a few A tiers that we want you to be aware of, and those are going to be Umebura SP3, 2GG Prime Saga, which we can't forget, the first 2GG Saga in Ultimate. We also had Pound 2019 in Maryland, which again, following the infamous crab incident, we had an insane run by several players at Pound, specifically Myron, if you remember, an ally taking that tournament, which is insane. Then, of course, we have Get On My Level in International A tier. And coming up, we have MomoCon 2019, which is set to happen this weekend, the weekend of May 26th. And that's going to be a Southeast major for sure. And even though it's rated A tier, entrance might bump up, since it's at an anime convention and people who are walking by might be drawn to it. And who knows, maybe they hit that number. So with all that being said, a lot of events at the top level that we hadn't necessarily thought of when we began the season. Sitting with now 1, 2, 3, 4 S tiers slated to happen, 3 which have already happened, and a few A tiers right under that, and even some B tiers, famously like Come to Papa 3 in Florida, Sumobado SP3 in Japan, and Battle BC3, like I mentioned earlier, one of Canada's earlier nationals. There's a lot going on, and we can't even forget Heart of Battle 2, which featured a lot of craziness in SoCal. So pretty much right now, just being very transparent, we're going to have a video coming out which explains the PGR to people who have not heard of it, at least in depth before, who didn't see its rise in Smash 4. It's going to feature how we do what we do, when we count placements, when we count set counts, and historically it's going to follow the same sort of script that we established towards the end of Smash 4, which is head-to-heads, and who you outplace determine the ranking score that you get relative to everybody else in the season. Meaning, if you are at a tournament and you outplace the likes of Mars, Nairo, and Ally, that'll speak to us more than if you go to a tournament and you only outplace someone like, let's say, Myron. We don't place a heavy emphasis on placements on their own, because in a vacuum, first doesn't necessarily mean anything, especially if you count the fact that first set of C tier and first set of S tier are two wildly different things. But again, if you're at a C tier and you outplace someone like Mars because he decided to go, that'll do a tremendous amount of work for your score. And of course, head-to-head set counts tiered between where they happen, whether it's a set 1 at an S tier or a set 1 at a B tier, all of those are value calculated, fed to the algorithm, and then spitting out, a ranking that we get, which will this time be top 50, and it will feature also Area 51, which will be, again, those people that lied right outside the top 50 that we lumped together and pretty much display as the honorable mentions. If you have any specific questions, I'm always available. So is Practical Task, who is our master statistician and bracketologist. He sets up the algorithm, we parse all the data, and we pretty much create, which is the empirical Smash ranking that we are now applying to Ultimate for the first time. And so if you remember, in Smash 4, it began pretty calmly with ESAM. Now it's pretty much hyped up as much as it can be, since it is the first iteration of the PGR in a new game. And so, all things considered, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Probably will be a bloodbath in terms of reception when it comes to favorites not reaching the ranks they thought or reaching the ranks at all. I will be honest and say that there is a lot more competition this time around. Our database is tracked, upwards of 8, 9, 10,000 people registered for all sorts of events. And of course, there's the 0-2ers, the 1-2ers, and the 2-2ers. But all things considered, this is the top 1% of competition we're talking about, the PGR. It's set to be released before EVO, and again, this is sort of like a rough draft for the eventual video that will explain all these things more in depth with helpful visuals and my omnipotent voice. But for right now, July 7th is the last date of the PGR. If you haven't seen the announcement, it's been pinned on the PG Stats Twitter account for a few months now, since February. And so what you'll see is essentially, let's see here. What you'll see is essentially the dates in which everything pretty much ends, along with the tiers that we've been talking about this entire time. February 1st to July 7th has been the season so far. We're at the end of May, which gives us just one more week in May, which includes this, of course, MomoCon happening in Georgia. Then we have all of June and just that little bit of July, which Albion seems to be punctuating the end with as an S-tier European major. So make sure you have all of that with you as you, again, plan the rest of your season as a spectator where you're visiting, as a player where you're playing. And if you're doing coverage, this content is relevant to you and you can use this to better whatever it is that you're trying to do. So again, my name's Suar. Any questions that you have, you can always direct to me in DMs. I will be answering more as we start opening up the FAQ, publishing the articles, and getting out that video. But right now, this first season looks very healthy. There's a healthy base of C tiers followed by B tiers, and we have some pretty influential S tiers in the mix. So do not sleep on those events because, again, as it stands, they have the most amount of competitors right now, and they're set to have the biggest impact on the rankings as people made their splashes there, busted out early parts in the bracket, and gave us the new storylines we have right now, which include people like Zachary, for instance, from Japan, who pretty much exploded onto the scene, even though he previously played in Smash 4, but he really made that statement at Genesis 6. So it's been real, it's been fun, keeping it kind of light again, covering mostly GOML and what happened there, a very legendary event for a legendary region. And just getting those updates to you about the PGR, how it's doing. If you want to help, or we're gonna probably recruit some volunteers towards the later end for people who might want to be involved. We might launch a program for that, but just keep your ear to the ground. We always like to involve as many people as possible. It's not possible without the photographers, the writers, and even just the players getting their input and thinking and taking into account what they think. So episode 18 of Smashcenter, a light one, a short one, a sweet one. It's been, pretty fun as your host, Suar from PG Stats, from Panda Global. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Do you think that the PGR is going to be littered with mostly new faces or the old ones? I can tell you right now, this top 10 is going to be unlike anything we've seen before, considering the fact that previous top 10 Vanguard have been experiencing all sorts of character crises, tournament setbacks, inactivity, or, they're just not clicking with the game. So what you used to think was the top 10, right now it's being replaced by the new school, and we'll see who these players are. So let us know in the comments what your top 10 ideally is going to be for the first season of the PGR. Will number 1 be MKLeo? Will number 1 be Tweak? Still undecided for some people. Some people don't even think that they'll stay in the top 3, considering some of the things that are happening at other parts of the tournament. But trust me, both players are strong, both players are incredible, so don't believe the hype elsewhere, just being real. But for all things considered, leave your thoughts in the comments. Let us know who you think your top 10 is. We're going to go ahead and resume next week on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, God willing. Hopefully we have Coney joining us by then. If not, we'll have another thing planned for you, which includes more content and more updates on the scene. We're going to be covering MomoCon 2019, and we'll see who wins that and who takes the gold for that S tier. That A tier, because Smash and Splash is coming through too. If it turns to an S tier this week, you heard it here first. It started as an A and just erupted as an S tier, and that'd be incredible to see. But for now, keep it real, keep it lovely. We'll see you next week. It's been a pleasure, again, bringing you these updates week to week. Episode 20 is coming up soon, and we'll try to do something special for that. Otherwise, you can reach me on Twitter at PG_Suar. We'll be here next week, and hope to bring you the realest Smashcenter we can, heading into episode 19 and then 20. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always reach me on Twitter, like I said earlier. And yeah, we'll be seeing you next week. Hope you enjoy. Have a nice night. Tell someone you love them. Love you all, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.